everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you are all having a super awesome day. Today's video is something completely different from what I normally do, and that is mainly because this is actually a painting of a person, and it's a guy person, and it's actually me. And I never ever paint guys or draw guys, really. I almost always keep it with like the theme of like fantasy girls with like cool animals and plants and stuff, and it's very natural looking. But I decided that I should probably practice more diverse things, especially with like college applications coming up soon. I don't want my portfolio to just be the same thing over and over, so I want to get into painting more realistic animals and more guys and more diverse people. So I thought that the first thing I should start off with doing is a self-portrait, and I think that I want to get better at doing self-portraits mainly because I can take my own reference images, and that's the one thing I kind of hate about like using reference images online, is because sometimes they don't have the exact pose that I want, but if I'm using myself as a reference image, then I won't run into that problem really. So this is a self-portrait of me. I will post the picture I used as reference right now. It's not perfectly exact. I freehanded this drawing. I didn't like grid it or trace it or anything. The features aren't really perfect, and it doesn't like look exactly like the photo, and I also had to update it a little bit since that photo was taken. My face has changed, facial hair, stuff like that, so I tried to make it look like how I look now. But yeah, it's not exact, but it does resemble me, I think, and I hope you guys like the self-portrait. I'm definitely, again, gonna do more of these, and definitely expect some weird art coming up, like more pencil drawings and not as like exciting stuff in my opinion. But I have to make sure that this portfolio kind of gets its shit together, because I don't want to like apply with just the same thing over and over. And I already said that, but I think you guys kind of get the point. And this piece is actually really cool because most of my art doesn't have super deep meaning behind it, and this one doesn't either, but like I tried to make half the piece like realistically like flesh colored and the background like realistically colored, and then I made the other half of the piece very like whimsical and fantasy like, because it kind of mixes the natural self-portrait and my own interest with like fantasy and colors and stuff. So the one half is in this magical purple forest, and there are like purple and pink trees and like iridescent waters. Like I have purple skin and shiny freckles and elf ears, and then the other half is just realistic, and it's in a green like blooming forest with my brown hair and just regular skin tone, and you know, my eyes kind of change between the two sides. I just wanted it to look like half of me was natural and then half of me was funky and surreal almost. And then as for the materials I used to do this self-portrait, I used an 11x14 just cheap canvas from Hobby Lobby or Michaels or wherever I got it. It's pretty old. And then I'm using Gamblin, the student grade version of their oil paints. I'm using their oil paints with Gamsol to kind of dilute them, and then Galkyd as a medium. So that is what I used to make the piece, and if you have any other questions, leave them down below in the comment section, and I will also put all of the materials I used in detail down in the description box for you guys to check out and use as reference if you want to get into oil painting. Now, I think that is all I have to say about the portrait itself. I kind of wanted to get through that part kind of quick because I did want to do a Q&A for this video, and on my last video, which was the Beauty and the Beast fan art, I asked for questions to put into a Q&A, and thank you guys so much for leaving questions. They were all awesome, and I'm going to try to answer as many as I possibly can. I'm going to try to keep this video somewhat shorter than my normal oil painting, since I feel like a 15-minute video is a big commitment, and I normally don't even watch a 15-minute video all the way through. So I am going to try to answer as many of these questions as I possibly can. If I don't get to yours, I will answer it in a future video, and I am sure I will do more Q&As eventually. Okay, so for the first question I'm going to answer, it is from Nessa Draws, and I'm sorry if I pronounce anyone's username wrong. I know most of you on here, but if I pronounce it wrong, my bad. But her question is, who is my favorite art YouTuber? And I cannot pick between all of the smaller YouTubers I watch because they're all freaking outstanding, and I can't pick favorites with them just because they're all, again, amazing. But my favorite larger art YouTubers are definitely, I really like SakoEms, and if you've never heard of her, she does really pretty fantasy artworks, and she was actually the first artist I ever watched on YouTube. Like 5 years ago, I watched one of her videos and was instantly hooked and had to start practicing art as much as I possibly could, because before then I didn't really do art that much. I doodled every now and then and it kind of came naturally, but I never really practiced it like that much. And after I saw her video, I was hooked and I had to do fantasy art, and her art is so beautiful and you should all go check her out, as well as all the other artists in the YouTube Artist Collective. They're all amazing. And I also really like watching oil painters on here, and one of those artists is Lena Danya, and she is so amazing, you guys. Like, oh my god, she is outstanding and freaking just like mind-boggling how amazing she is with oil paints. And if you need any help with oil painting, definitely go watch some of her tutorials, because I watched her videos to get started and they really helped me kind of get the hang of the paints pretty quickly. And then also there are two other artists that I love, and I forget their names. They're both German artists, I believe, and they're both so wonderful, and I will put their names right now on the screen. They are amazing and you should all go check them out. And also Sackums and Lena Danya. They're all amazing. And of course, like all my small YouTuber friends that are all freaking perfection on YouTube. So definitely go check out those artists, and I think those are my favorite YouTube artists. But then I also got a question from Sarah Rin Art about my favorite YouTuber in general, and I'm going to make these not art YouTubers, but regular, well, like non-art YouTubers that I really like. I really like the Gabby Show. I think she is so funny and awesome and talented. And then Joey Graceffa I'm obsessed with. And also, I really like podcasts a lot. I think they're easier to watch or listen to while I'm painting, since I don't really have to pay attention to them and I can work on my painting without kind of having something distracting me. But Shane Dawson's podcast is hilarious, as well as Jenna Marble's podcast. Both of those podcasts are awesome, and you can listen to them for free on SoundCloud. And I think it's just as enjoyable as actually watching a YouTube video. So those are my favorite YouTubers in general. And then I got a question from Holly Hearts Art, and she is outstanding, so please go check her out. But her question was, if I was stranded on an island and could only bring one set of art supplies, what would it be? And I thought about this for a little bit, and I think that oil paints are probably what I would bring, and they usually get on my nerves because I'm so new to them, and I feel like they're kind of hard to use. I feel like that would be a good reason why I would bring them, because I need the practice, and if I'm on that island, I would totally have time to practice a new medium. And I feel like if I brought like colored pencils or watercolors or something I've used for a while, I would get bored really quickly with them. And if I brought the oil paints, I would have lots of time to practice. And the paints also take really freaking long to dry. So like being on the island, I would have a lot more time to like let them dry and practice. And I don't know, I feel like that would just be the main reason, because I would get bored so quickly if I brought like acrylics or watercolors or something I'm really used to, you know? But I freaking love that question. So the next question I have is from Drawing with Hates Me Nat, and I love her, she's awesome. And her question was, how did I come up with my art style, and how did I come up with like the stuff I put into it to make it like my own? And this is mainly from my own interest of like fantasy, and World of Warcraft was a big thing that inspired my art, and then also just like nature in general. But then also it's influenced by other artists, again, like Sakuems and Lena Danya, artists that I look up to. I take little bits from their style and I try to replicate them in a new way in my own art. Like Sakuems did really pretty, like flowing hair and glowing skin, and I wanted to incorporate that into my own art, but in my own way, kind of. So I used other artists as reference while still trying to keep it my own by using my own interest in their like styles almost. So I kind of mixed and matched parts of other people's styles to form my own like funky style, if that makes any sense. Again, that also goes for the stuff I put into my art, like the flowers and the hair and like the glowing eyes. All of that stuff just comes from my own interest in like fantasy and like fantasy games in general, I think. My next question is from Tangy Monkey, and they asked, how long have I been drawing / how old were you when you started? And I have been drawing for as long as I can remember, pretty much, or at least like doodling. I remember in kindergarten, I think I actually still have some art from kindergarten, but I remember drawing in kindergarten a bunch, as well as like all throughout elementary school, but I never took it crazy seriously. And when I was younger, I really wanted to be an interior designer or an architect, since I thought that would be like the creative field to go into if I really wanted to like make money. And I didn't realize art could be profitable, really. So once I realized that, which was like right when I was getting into high school, I started practicing so much. And that's also, again, the time when I found Sakuems and other art YouTubers, and I really started practicing. So I've been drawing all my life. But as for like painting, I started acrylic painting in 2016 and oil painting in 2017, and I think I started watercolors probably like 2 years or 3 years ago. So I've been practicing seriously for a few years, but then drawing my entire life, if that makes any sense. And then I'm going to try to answer maybe one more just because the video is going to come to an end soon. But my next question, well, these are 2 questions. Well, one I already answered, but this is from Laurie's Channel Arts, and she is also amazing. Oh god, all these people are awesome. But she asked, what is my least favorite art supply? And this is 100% hands down, like charcoals and like oil pastels. They get everywhere, I think, and they're really, really hard to use. In my opinion, I feel like they're kind of like, I don't know, I feel like, again, I don't use them that often, but I've used charcoal once before, and when I used it, it got everywhere, and it smudged, and it was hard to store, and it was just stressful and annoying, and I like really colorful art, so like using charcoal was very boring for me, so I think charcoal is probably my least favorite painting. I mean, like art supplies. And then she also asked, when did I start drawing? Again, I've been drawing all my life, but then seriously, like for a few years, I think. If I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry, but I will answer them in a future video. I will for sure do another Q&A. And also, thank you guys so much for like over 315 subscribers. That's insane, and I love you all so much, and I hope you guys like this oil painting, and I will see you all in a new video coming very soon. Love you guys. Bye.